ABC Kinderteach presents Coffee, Rabbit, Snowdrop, Lost. Written by Bettina Birkjaer, illustrated by Anna Margrethe Kiergaard. My grandfather's name is Kaj, and my grandmother's name is Gerda. I go to see them a lot. My grandpa has 123 different flowers in his sunroom, and he knows the name of each one by heart in Latin. And Latin is an old language used to name things like flowers. He calls me Stump. There is her grandfather, who is very smart. He knows lots of things about flowers and very, very fancy names for them. And there is the girl whose nickname is Stump. We don't really know why yet, but that's what he calls her. But it's not a mean name. He says it because he likes her. Grandpa loves the smell of coffee, and Grandma loves crossword puzzles. An 8-letter word for the first sign of spring, starting with S, reads Grandma. Galanthus nivalis, answers Grandpa, and that's just the Latin name of that particular flower. While Grandma whispers, Snowdrop, in my ear. Then I write Snowdrop with nice round letters. And that's what a snowdrop looks like, that type of flower. Well now, Stump, isn't it about time you learned to drink coffee? Says Grandpa. I take a sip of my juice and answer with a burp. Just a little one. Grandpa gives me a wink. So the little girl, whose nickname is Stump, really loves her grandparents, and I think especially the grandfather. And he seems to know a lot of things. When Grandpa and I do jigsaw puzzles, we piece together the edge first, all 4 sides. Then we fill in the picture. We really like doing the one that has 1,000 pieces. It's a picture of a white rabbit in the snow. A 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle is a very hard puzzle to put together. It's lots of little tiny pieces. Grandpa says that when I get a little older, I can have a rabbit, a little one. He had a little one when he was a kid too. So the grandfather had a little rabbit when he was a little boy, up maybe about her age. And it was called Stump. Stump, Grandpa says with a wink. That's the best name for little ones with long ears. So I think he calls the little girl Stump because he had a pet rabbit that he really, really liked that was also called Stump. So I think it's meant to be kind of a nice thing to say to her. One day, Grandma reads, a 4-letter word for a fragrant or good-smelling flower with thorns. I already have the pencil in my hand ready to write rose, but I wait for Grandpa to say the word in Latin. Only this time, Grandpa can't find the word. So in Latin, rose has a very fancy long name, but Grandpa, who normally knows it, can't remember it. And this is the beginning of something that's going on with his brain that makes it not work like it's supposed to. He tends to start forgetting more and more things. Instead, he laughs and says, soon I won't be able to remember my own name either. I'm sure it won't come to that, Grandma says, straightening her glasses. I'm the only one who notices that Grandpa has lost something, which means he's starting to lose his memory, the things he can remember. Autumn arrives, and as the trees lose more and more of their leaves, Grandpa loses more and more of his words, which means he's not able to remember more and more words. And so the problem with his brain is getting a little bit worse. They call it dementia, dementia. So she's starting to realize that he can't remember words, and it's almost like she's catching the words that he forgets. I collect all of Grandpa's lost words in a box. It keeps me busy from morning to night. So all the words that he can't remember, I think she might be writing them down to say, I'm going to keep these words for Grandpa so that when he's able to remember again, he can. But I don't think he's going to be able to remember again, but she's not sure about it. So she's collecting words so he can remember them later. One morning, Grandpa forgets the coffee cups. He sets the table with wine glasses instead, the ones that Grandma and Grandpa got as a wedding gift. So he put out wine glasses when he normally puts out coffee cups because he just doesn't remember. "We can't drink coffee from those," says Grandma. She reaches for one, but it tips over and rolls off the table. "For Pete's sake!" exclaims Grandma. So it rolls off the table and it breaks on the floor. "Who is Pete?" asked Grandpa, looking at me. But I don't know who Pete is either. When someone says "for Pete's sake," it's like saying "for crying out loud" or "oh no" or "really." It's just a saying. Grandpa cuts himself when he tries to brush away the shards of glass with his bare hands. "Have you gone completely nuts?" says Grandma. I go to get the bandages that Grandpa once bought for me. So he cut himself, and so she went and get bandages to fix him up. But he just is forgetting more and more things. But Grandma doesn't know or realize yet that his memory is not working like it's supposed to. When winter arrives, so you had summer, and then you had fall, and then you had winter. So the year is moving along. Grandpa seems to have lost all interest in doing anything. He just sits and stares out the window. Grandma thinks he's boring. She is looking for a 5-letter word for a flower that starts with T. Probably tulip. But he just sits there because he just can't remember things like he should, and he kind of sits there kind of almost like spacing out or just staring off into the distance without maybe thinking about anything. "Can you get the rabbit for me?" Grandpa asks one day. I take out the big jigsaw puzzle with the rabbit, but Grandpa can't make sense of the 1,000 pieces. Eventually he pushes them onto the floor. Grandma gets upset at the mess and goes to bed without saying goodnight to Grandpa, even though she had promised him she would never do that. So Grandpa is asking for a real rabbit, not the jigsaw puzzle with the rabbit picture, because he remembers when he was a child that he had a pet rabbit. He doesn't remember that he doesn't have the rabbit anymore because he can't remember. And he gets really kind of angry and kind of frustrated. He feels bad because he can't seem to do the jigsaw puzzle anymore. So he pushes it onto the floor. His wife, the grandma, she gets mad because she thinks he's just acting up, misbehaving, but he really is very kind of frustrated because he can't remember. And so she goes to bed without saying goodnight because she doesn't really realize that there's something really wrong with Grandpa's memory. While I clean up, Grandpa falls asleep on the couch. I pull the big blanket over him and take the little one for myself. So she puts the big blanket over the grandpa and she uses the small one. You can tell that she really, really loves her grandpa, but she's really, knows that there's something wrong with his memory, his remembering things. I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm freezing and all alone. I wonder why she's all alone. I call for Grandpa, but only the cold answers me, which means she calls out for her Grandpa, but all she feels is cold. No Grandpa's around. A draft is coming from the sunroom where the door is open, so the cold air is coming in through the sunroom. I wake up Grandma. The 123 flowers look like they haven't been tended to for a long time. The flowers are not being taken care of because Grandpa has forgot about them. Why didn't I notice this? Grandma whispers, mostly to herself. So Grandma finally realizes that there's something wrong with Grandpa's memory. He cannot remember things like he used to. At first, we can see Grandpa's footprints in the snow, and there's lots of words: snow, shoe, snowdrop, mittens, cold. But before long, the wind blows them away. All the same, we can follow the words he's lost in the snow. Grandma can see them now, too. And I think what they're really saying is that she is really realizing that he has forgotten so many words already. We spot Grandpa, and he looks really, really cold. He's sitting on a bench without a jacket, and look at how bundled up they are, so you know it's cold out, and there's also snow. Some of the words there are home, gerde, stump. Wearing only slippers on his bare feet, and it looks like his feet are covered up by snow as well. He mumbles something like blah, 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 about not being able to find the rabbit. Remember, there is no rabbit. That was a long time ago. Grandpa strokes his cheek. Who are you? Grandpa asks, looking at me, so now he doesn't remember Stump. It's me, Stump, I reply. Oh, I'm looking for my rabbit. It's lost, he sighs, blinking. So he is worried about his rabbit that he has not had for a very, 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 very long time. When we get home, Grandma makes coffee and kisses Grandpa on the forehead. At first, Grandpa doesn't want the coffee. I don't think he can remember that it's coffee and that he likes it. So Grandma holds the cup with its spicy coffee scent to his nose. Then he wants to drink it. So when he smells it, he remembers that he likes coffee. But mostly, Grandpa doesn't want to do anything anymore. He still likes to smell the flowers, but it's Grandma who takes care of them now, all 123 of them. Even though she doesn't know their names in Latin, my box full of words is completely full, which means she's written down all the words that she knows that he has forgotten, which is a lot, which means he's really lost a lot of his memory. Let's have a party for Grandpa, I say to Grandma one day. Well, what kind of party? She asks. That kind of party, I say, pointing to their wedding picture. Just the three of us? Asked Grandma. The three of us and a surprise, I reply. A surprise? She smiles. Just a little one, I say, with a wink. So she's got a surprise for the party. I wonder what it is. What is it? What is Grandpa always looking for? What is Grandpa? I wonder if it has something to do with that rabbit he keeps looking for. I set the table with the nice glasses, and Grandpa decorates it with flowers. We have soup, a roast, and ice cream. Grandma takes out her wedding dress and we put on some music. Grandpa hums along. We dance until we can't dance anymore. I just have to get something, I say, and I take out the box with the surprise. Is it going to be a rabbit? I think so. Let's see. Well, well, what a lovely little one, says Grandpa happily, lifting the rabbit out of the box. We were right. It curls up on his lap and seems to like being scratched between its long ears. We can call it Stump, I say. Grandma nods and says that's the best name for little things with long ears. That's what Grandpa used to say. Grandpa smiles happily. From that day on, my nickname is no longer Stump, because that's the name of the rabbit now. But I still have a box of Grandpa's words. It will always remind me of how he, my grandpa, used to be. So she kept the words so that she remembered what her grandpa used to be like before he lost a lot of his memories.